At best, the alien abduction phenomenon is a terrifying, traumatic experience. At its worst, well, we think they sometimes take people and don't put them back.
I lost my mother and brother to this trauma. He murdered her, then killed himself.
These women are being used as human incubators, with all their children stolen away into the night.
A 6-foot-tall entity of blue-white light paralyzed me, then bent down and said into my ear, "Hi, Steve." It knew my name.
We hear gruesome stories of experiments and dissections. Imagine dying on a metal table while paralyzed, surrounded by alien faces. It's a real horror story. Welcome, everyone, to our show, Abductions 101, UFOs and the Paranormal Connection. I'm your host, Leslie Shaw.
Stephen Shaw here.
And we have some big, exciting news about our book today. We decided to publish a second edition. It will be published shortly in English and in Spanish, and we're going to have an audiobook as well. And this all came about, Stephen, remember we got a letter from a Czech Republic publisher, and he wanted to put it into their language.
Yes.
And distribute it there. And he says if it does well, they'll also translate it into Polish and Hungarian and some other Eastern Bloc languages, perhaps. So
Maybe.
We're very excited about that. They're right in the middle of the translation process, and that'll be coming out soon. And so I had to rewrite a second edition, meaning I added some things. I added Stephen added a lot more of his experiences.
Yes, we found that they was more important as far as, interest. And also, too, we should also mention that at least for now, that it looks like that our book is going to be also an audio version in English to start with.
Yes, that's another thing we're going to publish. So it'll be coming in print in Spanish and English, and with an English audiobook as well. So if you were thinking about buying our book, stop. Wait like a few weeks and the second edition will be out.
Ebook, of course, audio, and soon to be probably also to an audio in Spanish, but not at this point.
Yeah, we'll make that decision a little later.
Yes.
We'll probably do it too.
Yeah, so if you have any feedback, please get back to us and let us know that you're actually watching us.
Yeah.
All right.
Sign on to our Instagram account and send us a message if you'd like to.
Yes, that'd be great.
Communicate with us. Our Instagram is @leslie.shaw.author. All right, now we're going to have our...
Get ready for Sarah, right?
Yeah, we're going to have our wonderful guest, Sarah Kupersmith, is coming back with us today.
Part 2.
Yeah, part 2. She has 27 years of experiences, so we couldn't...
And she's kept a journal, too.
Yeah, and journal.
Which is rare.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Well,
it is for most people. I didn't keep a journal for most of it. Just remember it.
Anyway, everyone, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome, everyone, to our show. Again, Abductions 101, UFOs and the Paranormal Connection. Our guest tonight is Sarah Kupersmith. We've had Sarah on before. Sarah's another one of the lifelong abductees like Stephen. Mm-hmm. And she has 5 some odd years of journaling that she's been doing for it, which is so valuable, of course.
And rare.
And welcome, Sarah. We're happy to have you back.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah. And with the community.
Thank you for coming again.
Yes. So your book is going to be coming out, you said, in about
year and a half, you said?
Or so?
Year and a half.
Yeah.
And remind our audience the name of your book.
My book is called Primitive Star.
That's right.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Very good name. I like that. And that'll be coming out in a year and a half or so. And when it does, we'll have Sarah back on the program, of course.
Yes.
And in the meantime, let's get back to your journals. The last time we left off, I believe, you were abducted. You were wearing your underwear and a necklace. Then they were dropping you back through your ceiling. And take it from there, maybe.
Yeah, I was lowered into bed and I went back to sleep. And I woke up at 7 as usual. And I went to make a cup of coffee, didn't think anything of it and just went about my day as usual. And then I realized, hey, wait, that is extremely strange. I need to write this down. Because
Okay.
Indeed.
And remind our audience, of course, like how old you were in. Was this back in Laurel Canyon again, or was someplace else?
I was in close to Calabasas. So close to Topanga Canyon area. Living in a little house with my son, with Chris, and I was lowered down, and then I kind of snapped back to reality, made a cup of coffee, and realized I should probably draw pictures and write this down. And that's what I did. And I'm working from those pictures and journals when I write this book. So
I'm going to have Sarah is sending me these pictures, so we're going to have them fade up here pretty soon.
And Calabasas translates roughly into something like a squash, like a pumpkin. And I grew up very close to Calabasas and Woodland Hills, and I've been to Calabasas many times. Many great hiking places there too.
For our national audience, this is these are all suburbs of the Los Angeles area.
San Fernando Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Happened in the Los Angeles area in my life. I was born here, so.
Me too. Stephen too.
Yep. 33rd parallel.
Yeah.
Yes, another. You're all living along the 33rd, and with a lot of UFO activity.
Yep.
In fact, we had I forgot to tell you, we actually had a UFO sighting about 12 days ago or so.
Yeah, 13 days ago now. Yeah.
We were looking up in the sky, and a round white light with no running lights, making no sound, zoomed by faster than all the other planes in the sky were going. And it was much lower. It was only, we think it like
a couple thousand feet, maybe.
Or a couple thousand feet. And it didn't do any of its obliging, obvious UFO stuff like zigzagging motions or supersonic speed, but it just couldn't have been anything else.
And then actually last night, one of our friends up in Joshua Tree, California, she called us all excited. She and her husband were walking their dog, and she saw an orange globe that was just hovering in the air, and then it dropped down very quickly and just stopped. Again, it was soundless, and then after it kind of hovered there for a little bit. Then it just shot off back to where it was, back to the west. It was coming out from the west, and it went back to the west.
At supersonic
speed, soundless. So again,
we welcomed her to the group. She's now one of us.
Yeah, she and her husband is basically the first publisher of our first book. Traveling Shoes Press. Yes, right. He's a dear friend. Right.
But he didn't have his glasses on, so he couldn't see what she was seeing,
Yeah, it's a very common thing around here, so it's interesting.
How about you? Have you ever seen an orange globe one?
I was just writing about an experience that I had with an orange UFO yesterday. Just writing about it.
Really? I'm kidding. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So it was connected to another hooded person. And I knew that when I saw the UFO that they would be there in my yard, and I would kind of astrally communicate with this being. And I knew that it would be there when I looked out of my window in the middle of the night. And that was just kind of the only experience that I had with the orange ones. It looked like neon light. It looked like maybe the tube light of an old computer, those old computer games that were orange or green in the 80s. It kind of had that look.
Like those cathode ray tubes, those, they glow orange.
Yeah, it was just orange. And that was it. That was the only orange one I've ever seen.
How big was it?
I would say, in this little suburban, I lived in, for a couple years around Palo Alto up north, and it was about the size of my house, little bungalow.
Pretty good size one then.
Yeah, that was the first one that I ever saw when I was about 11 years old.
Yep.
In 1971. It was an orange globe, again probably about the size of like about a house, maybe 500, 1,000 feet in the air, and it was traveling horizontally from south to north, kind of paused, and then it continued on. And, we grew up, fairly close to Rocketdyne at the time, which was like maybe 20, 25 miles away. We would see missile tests once in a while, but this was not a helicopter or an airplane. And it was, and anyway, that was my first one that I saw was an orange. And
Sarah, you grew up probably about the same distance from Rocketdyne, but a little bit more easterly than Stevens.
Right, roughly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Calabasas, yes. Sure, Calabasas.
Stephen was in Woodland Hills and, born in Encino.
That's right.
We call him the Encino man.
I was, yeah.
Sure. I was in that area for most of my life. When I was in Laurel Canyon-ish area in the valley, I'd seen some stuff, and what people would say was, it's just Rocketdyne.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Don't about it, it's just Rocketdyne. You know?
Testing our new circular orange globe test planes, right?
Yeah, the ones that have no visible propulsion, that are silent, right.
Our giant blue plasma motherships, we were just testing a few of those.
Right.
Yeah. Like, this thought is, it's no big deal when these things happen. No big deal. And then I have to think, hey, wait a minute, I got to write this down. This is extremely weird. And why is nobody thinking this is weird? Stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely, in your book, definitely include as much as you can about that stuff, because I think it'll really help people to understand more too, that maybe it'll spark some memories, maybe some memories that they have maybe forgotten.
Yeah.
The things that just didn't add up, things that maybe they wrote about that they've forgotten they wrote about, stuff like that.
I would love to make it Los Angeles local.
Sure.
Because that was my experience, and I can't be the only one. Certainly not with you two.
No, we can share some with you too.
Oh, for sure. I've had an uptick in my experiences since the last time we talked. I've had probably about 8.
8.
7 or 8.
And it seems like they've increased the intensity, and that's one of the things we wanted to ask you about.
Right.
We've noticed, and another friend of ours who's an abductee has also noticed, that it seems like the communications have increased in number
and
intensity, and somehow they're angrier. And we're wondering if you've noticed anything similar.
Angrier. I did see a UFO exactly 5 days ago, or I texted you pictures.
Yeah, that little black one, right?
Yeah, coming back from Trader Joe's.
Mm-hmm.
And it was black, and I'd never seen a black UFO during the day before. And it had a blue light on the bottom, and it was kind of doing that same circular shape-shifting motion. And me and Tara saw it on the street at a stoplight, and then it just disappeared. We pulled over at a gas station to look at it. We were on the road, and it just disappeared. And it was disappearing and cloaking itself as I was filming it. So like a circle of what looked like sky color in a circular pattern around this craft was forming as I tried to zoom in. And it disappeared. So that was my last experience about 5 days ago. I don't know about anger or the fear energy that they have. I think they just naturally have fear energy, these beings. And I've never found out a way to work around that.
Yeah.
But I think it naturally is. There must be something about them that has that fear kind of consciousness about them. And that's not my state of being at all. So when I notice it, I just think it must be them.
So I'm curious about, with Sissus, we might want to remind our audience about, I guess, what we would call loosely, we would call your handler, or the person or the being that is most in touch with you.
Yeah.
So has anything recently been?
Yeah. After we last talked, I decided I was in Oregon with Tara, in rural Oregon in the middle of the forest, these big trees. And I just thought, we pulled over to a grocery store, and I just thought she was getting drinks, and I was in the car, and I just decided to do a meditation with Sis. And I didn't know what to ask him, and I was faced with Sis in this meditation. He was there. And I asked him his last name, and he said something in Gaelic. And his hooded face was right in front of my forehead, kind of really close. And he said his last name was, I had to Google it because I didn't know how to translate it. It meant peace in Gaelic.
No kidding. Wow.
Yes, that's really, really familiar.
The Gaelic, there's a definite Gaelic connection to this phenomenon. For one thing, the Gaelic...
Tuatha De Danann, for one
that
thing.
was the Irish guys, but the Druids were...
they were all over that area, really.
In that area, too.
You can't just, just say there's this Scotland or this Ireland.
And they tested these elongated skulls in Peru for DNA. And they were only able to get mitochondrial DNA, which is this from the side of the mother.
Yes.
And it came back as bizarre, like Gaelic and Scottish, and some other
Basque,
but definitely Northern European heritage in these elongated 2,000-year-old skulls in Peru. But also the hair of the alien. Did we talk about that on your show?
Yeah, we did.
Did we? There's this man in Australia. He had an alien encounter with these females, and one of them shed a couple of hairs while she was with him, and he had them tested, and they came back as very bizarre. First of all, they were clear, and there's no human hair type known to be known hair type that is clear in humans. Even albinos don't have clear hair. But it was DNA-wise, it was testing as human. But one of it was Basque and Gaelic, and a subset of the Chinese population that only makes up 1% of their population, and them too, like Mongolian. So a very not only human but very bizarre human, and showing this clear hair mutation. Yeah,
there must be a connection.
Right, there definitely is. Even our family handler called O'Glegley, that has supposedly been with our family for at least 4 generations. We found out that it translates in Tunisian to my friend.
Yeah,
that's my aunt and uncle found out, because my uncle's life was saved by O'Glegley in the late 1940s, early 1950s.
Our audience has heard that a couple of times, though. Well, let's get back to Sarah's experience.
Go right ahead.
So what happened after the pregnancy incident? What would you say was the next big thing that happened to you after that?
So I have a series of experiences. So it was a break between 1999. I didn't have anything until 2012, until right when I was getting pregnant. And so that's a great... So in 2012, I wasn't expecting it,
Yeah, you thought it was maybe over or something, right?
Yeah, I was like, that's been a long time. I'm over it. I'm too cool for that now, or whatever. And so 2016, 2017, that was the one with Ray, with my son. He was about 3 years old. And then in 2019, right before the pandemic, I had a sighting. I had another one where the message was DNA, DNA, DNA. And that's what they told me. They glided towards me, and I could see their hands and their feet, and there were beings about 11 feet tall. I had a high ceiling in my home, and they went right up to the ceiling, and the whole room was full of blue light, little twinkling things. And I drew a picture. I sent it to Leslie. Of these beings, and they looked Egyptian. They had handmade tweed looking like sashes, and they had the hook and the symbol of Isis or everlasting life, Ankh.
The Ankh symbol, yes,
And their position was they were holding poles. One foot was in front of the other, and they were just kind of moving like that. And I had my head over my bed. I was looking down, and I was able to see their feet. And there was one big toe, and they just kind of glided, and it was like an Egyptian piece of art. The feet were like big. Their skin was green. Some of them were green, and they were very, very old. And one of them reached out his hand to me like this and said DNA, DNA, and then showed me a DNA helix in this light. And he told me I would be able to communicate with them in some kind of box that held some information and had some hieroglyphic looking symbols, looked like a piece, like a sunshine or a letter A, and that if I could communicate with them when I did these symbols inside the box. And at that point, I was taken out of my roof. And then I don't remember anything after that, except waking up at like 6 o'clock in the morning to go to the bathroom. And it looked like somebody had, it's been a while since these have been used, but flash cubes on a camera. Do you remember the flash on an old camera?
Yeah, sure.
It just kind of like echoed in your eyes. Like it was so bright that you could see it when you closed your eyes. That's
yeah,
what
it burns onto your retina a little bit, or something, right?
Or your third eye, yeah.
I was like, I kept seeing these squares of light. And I went to the bathroom. I went back to bed. I had nothing on but like underwear and a necklace, usual. And that was the sighting in 2019. And I drew pictures of those creatures exactly as I saw them. That was the first one. And then I felt like I was communicating with some kind of Egyptian. It could have been Isis, or it could have been, I don't know. But I had some kind of communication with Isis or a cult in Egypt, in ancient Egypt or something, from 2022 to 2023.
Interesting. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And in my meditations with that being, I wrote some notes that I'm sending to Leslie. And that was 2019 to 2023.
Did they have that? You described one time that they had little triangles on their faces.
Diamond shaped.
Or diamonds, was it? I'm sorry. Did they have those?
I didn't see those until 2024. Those were kind of separate beings than the Greys or the Egyptians. The separate, I think that they're Palladian. Those with the triangles. Those beings are connected to my garden. Really connected to the plants in my garden.
When you say Pleiadian,
Pleiades.
the Pleiades, well, they're not really a place. They're a constellation made up of, I think 7 stars.
7 major, right? 7 that we can see at least.
So when they say we're like somebody's from the Pleiades, they must be referring to one of those 7 stars, presumably. Did they give you any idea of their source, of where they were coming from?
I can only guess that they've been here with me or my spirit for a long, long time, and they want to help me with plants. That's really how, when I'm in my garden, when I buy plants for the home, and I think it's a connection to Sisis in some way, the Druid connection. Big trees, and I see them.
And taking better care of the planet, planting plants, right, is part of it. Making the earth have more oxygen and more green. Maybe, I don't know.
The whole ceramic studio is completely self-sufficient and ecologically friendly. All the materials are from the earth. And
That's really cool about your ceramics is they're I guess if ceramics can be organic, yours are organic, right?
that's them. They wouldn't let me work with plastic or paint. If I use a pigment or something from the ceramic supply store, I just feel icky about it. I can't do it. And I think that's them. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, I bet that you constantly have like this like a background in your head, like they're like communicating with you all the time. I mean, that's kind of like the subset of feeling that I have this background communication happening 24/7. It's just most of the time I just tune it out, or I just like listen to it. But I call it but people call it like your intuition. It's like they call it your spirit informer, spirit guide, or your master teacher or teachers, whatever. And I've had that pretty much my whole life. In fact, I wanted to ask you a quick question. Do you get from time to time, let's say either in your left ear, right ear, like a tone that'll
Yes.
just occur for like maybe a minute or two, and then it goes away?
I always close my eyes and stop what I'm doing to absorb information, but I have no idea what it is.
Right, exactly.
We have to. I don't know what it is. It's my left ear.
Left ear. That's always me. Always the left ear.
Always the left ear? Wow.
And it's always the same tone, and it lasts for almost the same length of time. And I've been noticing this since at least I was a teenager, if not before. Okay, so I remember, especially in junior high school, I started to get this tone. And it wasn't because I was like listening to a bunch of heavy metal rock music or, I was playing the accordion, for God's sake. All right. So it wasn't like I was overusing, headphones or anything like that, but it's been throughout my entire life. Left side, single tone, but like a higher pitch, like more like that, little between that. But it just lasts for like a minute or two, and then it goes away. But it always seems to like make my mind focus on, my mind kind of goes in a little different direction. It's like I know I'm being contacted.
And maybe pushed a little.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Always try, but I never know why it's happening.
Me neither.
You get you still see these hieroglyphics now and then, right, Sarah?
It's been a while. It's been about a year. I had it when I was doing my a gallery show for my pieces, and it was happening that night, and I haven't seen it then since. So it's been about since August last year. Yeah, I do.
How do I put this? Have they given you any inkling as to what they mean? Are you able to decipher them at all as the time has progressed along?
I really want to be brave about sitting with and owning the abilities that I have and writing about it and coming into more confidence with these occurrences that happen with, above my left eye. There's some hieroglyphs and gold flashing going on maybe once a year. When I show my work, I see it. I saw it a little bit at Contact in the Desert when I was showing my mugs. I don't know what it is though. And part of it is to stay sane and in the right lane and, keep drinking my coffee and go about my day and make my pots and not think about it. And then part of me is like, wouldn't that be fascinating if in the middle of the night I sit in the middle of my yard and see what happens? But then I don't feel brave like that. And as I was totally brave when I was a kid, I could astrally go anywhere and I could meet with druid beings in my backyard. And now it's like, this is a piece of art that I'm calling like a muse, and I'm writing this piece, this book. And it's different now as an adult.
Yeah. We're more cautious as we get older, I think.
Well, yeah, we have totally different, hormones change completely, and our brains develop like every single microsecond. Our brains are changing. It doesn't matter, we're losing 40,000 skin cells per second, basically, or per minute, one of the two.
And we have people that depend on us as we get older.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't let you be abducted forever. You have important people in your family that would miss you terribly, right? So.
I just wanted to remember that I told you about 2 weeks ago that I found myself hovering above my body in the bed, and I've been trying to train myself to say, I want to go to like Antarctica to see kind of like what's going on underneath the ice sheet.
Yeah,
so
what we think is happening down there.
So I found myself above my body, and I said, I'm going to go to Antarctica. So I basically zoomed out of the room, and I was like flying over, again in twilight, which it always seems to be, through clouds and, sun. And I saw these great cities, and I met this guy, and I knew his name at the time. It was like 2 syllables and then 3 syllables. It was kind of like a really unusual name. And I said, well, how do I get to Antarctica? Like, I'm having trouble getting through these walls. And he said, well, just remember that the walls aren't really real. You can just go through them whenever you want to. And so then I continued trying to get to Antarctica, and I was out for quite a while. And then I came back into the room and just basically got back into my body. And it was just like, at least I gave it a shot. At least I was conscious enough to know that I was, okay, and now I have a decision to make a choice. But this stuff has just been increasing with me, especially this one dark entity that has like approached me like 4 times in the past year. That's a feminine Asian sounding voice. And it's like kind of like been, last time it actually pretended to be Leslie. It was at the foot of the bed, and it was like making this rustling sound, like it was moving papers and stuff, and it used Leslie's voice, and then it moved. It was this big black figure, pretty big. And then it moved into the bed and was next to my right side. And then it moved out of that, and then it went to my left side again and was trying to communicate with me. And I kind of tried to say, I don't want to be dealing with you. Don't want to be dealing with you. I don't trust you, kind of thing. And then it finally left. But this has been 4 times. It's been the same entity.
I'm starting to get jealous,
Yeah. And it's one, this last time it pretended to be Leslie. It was using her voice. Yeah. The time before that, it called me husband. It was in bed with me and called me husband in my right ear. And that was like, for me, I'm trying to tell our audience, that, this has happened to me so many times, like 1,000 times, maybe more, that it's like, if you get punched in the face one time, you remember it, right? Well, if you've been punched in the face 1,000 times, 1,001 doesn't really mean much. So it's kind of like, sometimes I decide to confront them. In fact, I was in the reclining chair the other night, and again, this being was pretending to be Leslie, because Leslie was on the couch, and I was having a conversation with Leslie, but it wasn't Leslie. And then it pushed the chair a couple times. And then I said, show yourself. I want to see who you are. And then I started to wake up, and then I woke up a little bit too far, and then I couldn't see it, and then I tried again. But it wouldn't show itself, but it definitely pushed the chair. So that's why I thought it was Leslie. I thought Leslie was trying to get my attention, that she needed something from me, but no. So this stuff
wasn't me.
This stuff has not left me by any stretch.
No, definitely not. But it does go through little quiet times, like with that you had, where maybe a year or 2 goes by and nothing, but then little clusters of activity, it seems.
Yeah, you never know when it's going to happen. Never know. So
what happened to your cluster? Go on from the Egyptian people. What happened after that? And
so my friend Mary, who you met, we're ceramics partners. We love to wheels. We moved in together. Chris had moved out, and Mary moved in, and we were having a great time making pots and hanging out. And we spent about 3 years together, working in the studio and saving money and cooking rice and beans and basically being happy artists. And Ray was there, and he was in school down the street. So I walked him down every morning, picked him up every day from school.
That's your son, right? For our audience.
Yeah, so it was me, Ray, and Mary, all in that house in Woodland Hills, basically all the way down Roscoe Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of on the border of Calabasas. And we started to notice the grays coming to the front door. And we thought, oh, it's not a big deal. Mary has 2 elderly chihuahuas, and she walks them in the middle of the night because they have to pee, and they wake her up and they bark. So she would be out there at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she'd come back, and in the morning she'd tell me, I'm seeing hieroglyphs, like blue hieroglyphs in my eyeballs when I take Nyla and Noir out for a walk. And well, that's weird. I saw 2 aliens at the door last night. What's that about? And we just went, oh, well, you know, it's just part of our life.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the aliens are back again.
Yeah, exactly. You get numb to it at a certain point. You get used to it. You get acclimatized.
Like he saw a UFO one time, a giant cigar cigar-shaped one.
On the way to work.
Over Yucca Valley. And, you know, most people would pull over, get out of the car, and point at the sky. He just continued on to work, you know.
Well, it was on the radio station, too, that they're saying, are you guys seeing this? You know, so anyway.
Oh, another one.
But I had to treat a patient, you know, so I wasn't going to, like, you know.
Right.
I didn't have a camera with me either. This is just pre smartphones.
Yeah. And so we just went on, and Ray was having nightmares at the time, being really afraid of the aliens. And so I sat with him, and we protected his bedroom with hearts. So we said, whenever you're afraid, they can't do anything wrong to you. You'll be here in the morning with mommy. Don't be afraid. It's going to be okay. I'm right here with you, Ray. And he was having nightmares. He was having, I guess, alien problems is what I was telling my friend. Like, he's having aliens. They're coming to him, and he doesn't know what to do. And he's a child, and I feel like it's my fault, but I don't do anything. And what do we do? And so we just called in this heart energy, with heart shapes. And we surrounded him with love. We were there for him. And for the next couple years, so it was 2022 to 2024, we worked with him and at this house. She's a Reiki healer, so she does Reiki. So she was able to give Ray Reiki. We would see them at the house. We would see the grays at the door.
How are you seeing them? Like through your Ring camera, or does the door have a window in it, or?
Her dogs would get up.
Mm-hmm.
And they would do their thing, and she would open the back door. And then I remember just them standing. There would be a couple of them at the front door, at the opposite side of the house.
Were they the talls or the smalls, or do you recollect?
There's some that are like 3 feet tall. They weren't that small, but they were like medium, where I could see their heads pop up at the window above.
About 5 foot, maybe 4 foot, 4.5, 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned that in our first show that Sissus had 2 smaller grays with him.
Yeah.
Right.
If he was involved, but I didn't have the wherewithal or the ability to do that because I was a single mother. So I just didn't. There was part of me that couldn't get 100% involved in this. It was just, okay, they're here. I'm going to document it. I'm going to write about it, and then I'm going to move on. So that's kind of the gist of those 2 beings that came to the door. And I don't know.
No matter what happens to you at night, in the morning, you still have to get up and live your life, you know?
That's right.
Got to take that little boy to school. Got to put on his back, send him off. And so, yeah.
What's your latest experience? Besides not the UFO you told us about, but that
was 4 days ago. The latest one, let's see. June 13th. I wrote down last night, June 13th, 2025. I have no idea what happened. I just put it down as a tick on my calendar. And then 2025 June with Tara. Tara had a sighting in her sleep, where they came to her. That was 2 days before the Contact in the Desert conference.
Are they taking her too?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I'm curious. Do you notice, like, maybe I have noticed at least I paid attention the last few years, that it seems like about a week or two before my birthday, I seem to get an uptick in contact. At least that's what I've noticed.
Is your birthday in July or December?
July 28th.
Always June to July and December, January.
Me too.
Every year. Yeah, my birthday, December 29th.
Interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if they're wishing you a happy birthday. I don't know what that could be.
Well, God knows what it is, but it's I definitely
trying to decipher their intentions from this bizarre behavior.
Yeah, definitely for me, the majority of my most let's say 75% of my most interesting and profound experiences have happened in late December, early January.
Yep.
Let's say about 75% of them.
And Phillips too, his brother.
Yeah.
He would have it mostly in the winter, almost every time in the winter.
Like the cold, snowy winter, January, December. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I lived in California, I lived in Illinois for a couple of years when I had my first one, 2012. And it was snow, silent, cold. Yeah. And then every other one has been December, January, or July.
Yeah, you really start to see a connection when you start to talk to other people. There seems to be a connection there. There seems to be something to do with the season, at least, and maybe the cold, and maybe something around the solstice.
Maybe fluid connection with the solstice.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't occur to me, but yeah, the solstice would be if they're druids or Tawatha De Danann.
Well, another commonality is the hieroglyphs.
Yeah,
I mean, they even been finding them on the Dropa stones of the hieroglyphs, the ones that that mysteriously vanished apart from one. They've been finding them in crop circles. They've been finding them, them people see like UFOs, hieroglyphs. I mean, the hieroglyphs keep on repeating over and over again, And
we see them on these discoveries. The
ones in Mexico.
Yeah, since we had you on, we had Mike Forrest, who's written a lot of books on or 4 books, I guess, on the discoveries they're pulling out of Mexico are the most bizarre things I've ever seen. They are covered in ancient Sumerian imagery, ancient Egyptian imagery.
The Ankh symbol a lot too.
They've got lots and lots of gray alien faces with these giant eyes, and frequently with wings on them.
Right. Mm-hmm. And spaceships with rocket fuel coming out of them too.
Absolutely, little flying saucers all over them. It's wild, and these things are testing at thousands of years old.
Between 2 and 25,000 years old, depending how deep they go. And some of them fluoresce if you put them under a black light. Like this one that really impresses me is this 180-pound chess set where the pieces are not quite like what we have, but they're kind of similar. And you put it under a black light, and these things just fluoresce absolutely this beautiful green. Okay.
You could almost play it in the dark, Yeah. Play the game in the dark.
And this book is called Anunnaki, the Alien Connection. That's one of the books we have. And we actually bought one of his pieces that I forgot to bring with me, but I was going to show it to you. But yeah, Anunnaki, the Alien Connection. And this stuff is, it's been found all the way from Mexico down to Peru and Honduras. And the authorities were saying, oh, these are just like fun pieces that the local artisans are doing.
Yeah,
and
they think they're hoaxes or something.
They thought they were hoaxes, right?
So they're just letting them out of the country, even though they're probably the most valuable thing in Mexico,
So
right now.
they're doing this type of testing that's called terrestrial cosmologic Nimbrid or something, a Nubrid or whatever is
TCN.
TCN, and they're also doing C14, carbon 14,
carbon dating,
and they're dating the glues and the grasses that are in these pieces, and they're dating from between 2,000 and 25,000 years old, depending how deep they find them.
And they're made like of a concrete all their own, but the glue that they're putting, they have little inlay stones in them sometimes, and the glue is a plant base, and they've been able to carbon date it between 9,000 and 25,000 years old. It's amazing. It's blowing our minds.
And they have the hieroglyphics, and they have hieroglyphics again on them.
Yeah, hieroglyphics. And Proto-Sumerian was more hieroglyphic based. It went cuneiform later, but in the early Sumerian, there are hieroglyphics, and of course the Egyptian language is all hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
It makes you wonder about the Florentine Codex. Do you know about that? Like how American really is America, and most of it was in Mexico, especially in the South.
Yep. I've heard of it, but I didn't. I've got to research that more. Could you tell us about it?
Yeah, I read it like 10 years ago, but it basically is paint colors in the South and the mounds in Missouri. There's burial mounds in Missouri and in the South and in Arizona, and there's probably a connection between more of Mexico than what we think.
Yes.
And in particular, I think it was a certain kind of turquoise pigment that was found in the Florentine Codex. Anyway,
in fact, one of these patinas they've been finding on these objects is like one of the elements, like Florentium, which would kind of like segue with what you're saying.
Florentium, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, dear. We've had a star seed on recently, Natalie Hill.
Oh, you met her at Contact, probably, Natalie.
Yeah, I probably did. And she was talking about that she's part of a federation, and she's part of their program, the aliens program, and
Starseed, right?
And she sees them as here to benefit man. That they're doing great work for us, and they're uplifting us, and that it's all good, right? And then next week we're having people on that are talking about this is more like an invasion. This is they're here to take us over and take our planet from us. So this is I think we've got the extremes of back and forth of what their intentions are. And I was wondering, what's your take on that?
Yeah.
I am open to the unknown. And I use it as a source of my art and of my life on a daily basis. I think it's more intimate for me. My communications have been more sacred as they happen, and they're kind of internal. Until recently, I haven't spoken at all. I've just written on pieces of paper. So if I were to think what their purpose is, I think it would go more towards personally what I've experienced with them. And I don't think about the rest of the world, even though it's happening in the rest of the world. When I saw that UFO Trader Joe's 4 days ago, I wanted a support group. I wanted to look it up on the news. I wanted somebody to say, what is that? Oh, that's what this is. Oh, how satisfying. Of course I knew. Rocketdyne, right? But
yeah.
I don't know.
I forgot we have to have a break.
Yeah, we completely forgotten that. So yes. Yeah.
Let's all just go silent for a few seconds, and we'll be right
10 seconds, back. Yeah.
Good evening. Are you wondering if the UFO phenomenon is real?
Are you wondering who is flying the UFOs in our skies?
Are you wondering if aliens are really abducting people?
Then you need to read this book.
The book is titled Who They Are and What They're Up To.
Find out the true identity of the aliens.
Learn a very brief history of the UFO cover-up.
Find out where the aliens are hiding.
Find out why our government is in league with them.
Learn about their bizarre hybrid breeding program.
Find out why their technology is 13,000 years ahead of ours.
The reference section of this book alone is worth the price.
Again, that was Who They Are and What They're Up To by Leslie and Stephen Shaw.
Now available on Amazon and coming soon in the Spanish and Czech languages.
And soon to be in English and Spanish audiobook.
With a new foreword by fellow author and abductee Karen Wilkinson.
Again, that was Who They Are and What They're Up To by Leslie and Stephen Shaw, now available on Amazon. And we're back. Thanks for waiting for us, everyone.
Yes.
Sorry, we have to run a little commercial break here and there once in a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So where were we? You were telling us about
more of a personal thing, and you're seeing a UFO at Trader Joe's 4 days ago,
and your personal take on their intentions.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely eerie, spooky, weird. There's no reference for it. Why is it happening? I don't know.
You don't have they haven't given you any inkling of their purpose? That
I haven't had answers, but I haven't asked for answers. I haven't sat, and I guess I'm just letting it happen to me, which...
Yeah, we don't have too much choice in that. I think that we do, if you, let's say, for what I've been doing recently, which may be the reason why I said I want to go to Antarctica, I've been doing a lot more chanting when I go to bed, like vibrating the chakras and, with my extensive training with Tai Chi and other things like that, I kind of have more of a focus than a lot of people. So, I kind of know what to do. And so, for me, I was wanted to ask you, as a matter of fact, I come from a family, at least on the women's side of the family, that they were channels or, at least automatic writers. Did any, like your grandparents or your mom ever talk about similar things? Do you?
My mother and my grandmother pulled me aside when I was about 7 or 8 and told me that I had abilities and that they had abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a connection to the forest and the plants. And then I would always have a connection to the forest and the plants, and that they had the ability to have prophetic dreams, and that I would have that ability, but that I had to be wise about it. And then I couldn't speak about it. And then I had to be wise and kind of go with the flow with nature and just keep quiet. And so I wrote a lot about it privately. But yeah, my grandmother especially, who had Irish lineage, my mother had red hair,
My dad had red hair, golden carrot top.
Yeah. And your energy work, you're acupuncturist.
Mm-hmm.
So you must have abilities as well.
Sometimes I could do acupuncture without even putting a needle in. I mean, I'm not bragging, but I came from a background. I came from a background of Tai Chi. Okay. And it was just, like they say, the old saying is, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. That's exactly what happened to me in my life. And I thank Bob Davis for the rest of my life, because he was there. I was in a class, and it was just like I took to it like a duck to water. But so when I went to become an acupuncturist, I was in terrific shape. What I found, an acupuncture school, which is about 6 years long, if you consider all the pre-med stuff, is that about 50% of the people were there because they had been healed by acupuncture. So they kind of came to it from kind of like a standpoint of they needed healing first. I came to acupuncture from the standpoint of strength. I became the Tai Chi teacher at the school and things like that. So I really understood it. And I was addicted to learning. When I was a waiter, I would spend all my time just like when I was on a break, just reading up on the acupuncture stuff. I probably spent 4 to 6 hours a day, just average.
Yeah, sounds like a med student for
it
sure.
was no, it was just I loved it. I loved it, and that's why I was really good with animals. I treated some of my best patients were dogs and cats. You know, they would let me put needles in them. Didn't matter whether Rottweilers or German Shepherds or whatever. You know, so yeah, so it's the energy work and the connection with nature. I've always had that connection with nature too.
And he was very good with Qigong healing as well. Qigong is that it's just energy healing for our audience who doesn't know, maybe. But he would put his hands over an area and just start, pushing the energy, and you'd actually feel that part of your body heating up, without him touching you or using any device on you at all, except his energy.
There must be
strong.
There must be a connection to these special healing powers that we have with loving the earth and the people on it.
Sure, of course.
Or elemental acupuncture as well, I think was interesting as a potter with me. Removing the fire, putting more water.
Sure.
More air to feed the fire. I did elemental.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything like that. With cabinet making, with the same thing. I mean, I knew how to put stain on a piece of furniture, and I could just use my hands and just a rag, and I could move it so quickly and so nicely that it would be nice and even. But it was just like a feel. You just know. You don't ask, you don't question it, you just do it.
Yeah, we both had experiences with Chinese people and the aliens or the Greys, or Korean people. I did when I was growing up, and I wonder if that was just trying to get me interested in acupuncture so I could heal myself or experiences.
Sure.
I think they do direct our lives to a certain extent. Like my friend Jean, she felt pushed to become an energy healer, and she felt pushed to kind of buy this property where she's living now. And this property is very special. It's one of the things that she thinks they're wanting from her, is to kind of be the caretaker of this special place where she's living. It seems like she's on an energy, like maybe where two ley lines cross maybe, or something, because her house is so strange. Everything in her house is growing. Things that aren't supposed to be growing are growing, like inanimate objects, rocks and meteors and pieces of coral.
And antlers.
And walking sticks. And
we've seen it.
And it's not just that they're getting like bigger. Alien things are starting to come out of them. Like one of she has this meteorite, a head of a gray alien started to emerge from this meteor. And I saw it like 3 years ago, and I just saw it again recently. And now you can start to see the upper torso of the thing coming out of the rock.
It is truly wild. It's truly wild.
So we think she's that's her job, is to be like the caretaker of this,
the forestall,
this important place. And I think maybe you are being pushed into this kind of elemental work, Sarah. Maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, well, my friend Mary, she's a Reiki healer, and she does Reiki here at the house. We have a really old craftsman in Pasadena that's 1800s. And the front of the house is made of rock, quartz rock. And the foundation is on rock in the front. And we did Reiki there for a number of people this year. And we were helping people who had experiences with gray aliens, Just one after another. I think about 3 people we had this year came forward and said, I'm having problems with gray aliens. And Mary said, well, Sarah can help you. And I was able to guide my energy as they were doing the session. And I kind of like imagined these hands holding the person. And they said it was transformative. And we had many people come for Reiki with her that were healed in my homes in the Valley and in Pasadena. So I believe in it.
That's wonderful work.
Yeah. When you see it and you feel it and you do it, you know that it's real. So.
And this thing can be kind of traumatic, being abducted. And then, as you know, you're from your son being frightened, and And it's good to have a support group. I think that's part of the thing that helps us.
We definitely,
cope,
we sensitives especially need support groups because we get affected so much more quickly. We're like the canaries in the coal mine. That when energetic things change, whether it may be in it doesn't even matter whether it's politics or just things around us, we feel it first.
Yeah,
we do.
Ourselves. I'm always lighting incense. I'm always opening the window. Yeah, it's true. Totally.
Mm-hmm. That's why dogs, I think that's why animals are attracted to us, because they understand, because we're kind of feeling a little bit more on their level. It's like, I always remember, this is kind of a funny thing, it's an aside, but we had goats, when we were on the upper mesa of the Yucca Valley. Leslie got our first goat called Penny. Called her Penny because her eyes were penny colored, right? But we noticed that very quickly she was like really upset. She was like, because she came from a herd, right? And so,
yes, being city people, we had we stupidly got just one.
We finally
goat.
figured, and and where we got it from was just like a quarter-mile walk. This lady was raising goats, so I said, let's go get another goat, right?
Yep.
And so I went over there and I was talking to the lady, and I was trying to think, I'm going to get like a younger goat, right? So there was this one goat that looked at me, and she just came right over to me, and she just said, "I am yours."
Yeah.
And we ended up naming her Frankie because she had these crazy blue eyes. And we thought the time, said, well, said, do you want me to burn off the horns so she doesn't have horns? Says, oh no, she's so little, so she's like a small goat, right? So
half pygmy goat.
Right.
So
we let her have her horns, and she just started using those things. We fed her with a bottle, we bottle fed her and that kind of stuff. But as soon as she got her horns, she was a terror.
Yeah, attacked everything that moved.
I saved her life maybe 5 times.
But you were talking that Penny is, as soon as she had another goat.
Yeah, she was fine.
She was fine.
Once she had a partner, she was fine.
As long as there's one other, she was in a herd as far as she was concerned. And happy.
Yeah.
But let's get back to our subject.
Sorry.
Sarah, I'd like to hear a few more of your journal entries that you've been making.
Yeah, sure. I think I sent a couple to you. Those were more diagrams. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Let's read the orange one. I want to read the orange UFO since we talked about it.
Great.
All right. Orange and green. If I look out the window at the sky at night, I'm afraid I'll see the orange UFO. It lights up like an old computer game. I know it's there. It's late at night. A Sisyphus-like being joins me by the creek. We had a creek and a giant yard when we lived in the Bay Area for a couple of years. It was in Palo Alto on a creek called Stevens Creek. And we had about an acre of land with 2 huge oak trees that must have been 800 years old. And that was my backyard, and I knew that if I looked out, I could see this orange UFO. I know it's there. It's late at night. The being joins me by the creek, another cloaked woman. She's a druid woman. We meet at night. She is there when I meet her above the creek by the shade of a hummingbird vine and 2 700-year-old oak trees. I have powers to protect the earth. I am in the channel. I go to this woman astrally at night when I know the orange UFO will be at my window. It is late, and her hands are gray alien hands. She is very old. She is like a tutor. And
wow.
Sounds interesting. Familiar too.
I had drawn in my school books alien heads and UFOs so much that I got in trouble for it.
Yeah, I can just see a teacher going, "What's this? What's all this?"
I was taken to Mars in a dream when I was that age, when I lived in that house with the big oak tree.
Ooh, tell us about that.
And so I went to this camp. It was a Jewish day camp called JCC. It was in Palo Alto. And there were some children there who I knew, who I was close with. And I had them show up in this dream one night. And it was one of the scariest sightings that I had in my childhood. So here we go. An auditorium, a chalkboard with notes, is brought in by the soldiers. This is planet Mars. We're all sitting like in a circle together as children. This is planet Mars. If you stay for our lecture, you will all get ice cream. This seems suspicious and weird to me. Even I feel like I don't want to be here. I begin to wander to the ice cream stand to look at it. I sit back down. In front of the Mars presentation is a long hallway blocked off by a swinging gray door. I stare off into it, bored, and I gaze out into the subterranean window into the surface of Mars at night. We are at what looks like a cove or a cave, and windows underground, red rocks, old 70s carpet. Me and the children are told we can stand in line now to get our ice cream. From the commissary, a word I didn't know. It looked like a tiny Baskin Robbins with one case of ice cream. The military soldiers are Korean or Asian, green uniforms. The children in front of me formed two lines, what we wanted, vanilla or chocolate. I say, I want sprinkles, please. I went in the vanilla line. I bit, and on the inside was a human kneecap, putrefied and brown. I let on that it was delicious and ran the corridor to the left of where this twisted ice cream was being served to me. There in front of me was a bloody, gore-filled sight. Human legs and cattle in a stainless steel freezer looking from brightly lit room. Aliens were eating the Greys were eating and gathering cattle bones. I wake up in a field, watching the sun rise. I run to my mother as I wake up on top of her to cuddle her. K-Fog plays Hotel California again. I go back to sleep, and an elevator takes me back to Earth. It's another day. I wear my purple and green jumpsuit, play suit, and the little girls that were with me on that dream were wearing the same thing that they'd worn in my dream. Pink shorts.
Oh.
And that was it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so cool that you were able to write that down as quickly as you could, as accurately. But yeah, that's pretty profound.
How old were you when this happened?
Drawn from I'm writing it as a 40-year-old woman, but drawn from my journals that I wouldn't have had the motor skills to write.
So you said the JCC was at the Jewish Christians camp or something like that?
No.
Jewish Community Center.
Jewish Community Center. Okay, sorry.
Because Jewish and Christian would be the same.
That would be like, yeah, right. Of course. A little bit.
Sorry, I think it's getting hot in here, so our brains are starting to go.
Yeah, yeah. We're getting right to the witching hour anyway. So
yes,
it's like
let's just have another quick break here.
Leslie, you're kidding me.
What?
Our merchandise store is up?
Of course, my darling. All of our amazing concepts of shirts, mugs, and bumper stickers are ready to go.
No way.
Way.
Even my brilliant Egyptian concept that no one else ever thought of before?
Yes, that one too, and lots more. All at our new store at etsy.com/shop/abductions101.
Wow. I want a shirt and a mug and...
Well, Stephen, and all our curious listeners, just go to etsy.com/shop/abductions101 to see all of our unique designs.
I'm going there.
Okay, and we're back now, and I just wanted to ask Sarah, what did you have anything else you'd wish to impart to us today?
No, I've just really enjoyed talking with you. Thank you for taking the time to hear my story, and it's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's such a cool thing that you're going to be, putting together this book. And I know for us, every time we speak to people, we learn things, and hopefully that it helps you to kind of maybe coalesce more how you're going to do your book and present it. I do got the feeling that it's really an important, book to be coming out at this time. People need to be connected more with nature and really respect like what you've known for your whole life. And I think myself for the most part too. I think this is we need to get away from a lot of the paths that we're kind of going down right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's an important message.
The goal is to heal the earth with our art, with our speaking voices.
Yes.
That's the function of this book. Hopefully will carry that message, and my pieces as well.
Yes, they're beautiful.
Yes, everyone, visit Sarah's on. Where should they go to see some of your your clay pieces?
Kupersmith Ceramics on Instagram, and there should be a website. And my project that I'm working on with Mary is called Earthfield. So we are making pieces with locally dug earth that we ask permission for, and hopefully, well, actually, in about 6 months, we'll be firing with 100% wood. So no longer firing electricity. So we're doing kick wheel, we're doing wood, and we're doing all local materials with ash.
Wow, neat.
So did you say that was Kupersmith Ceramics?
Smith Ceramics on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is
Earthfield Studio, Earthfield_studio. And you can message either one. We're both there.
okay.
Yes,
Good.
you can check out her ceramics. She was next to us
Yes.
at Contact in the Desert. We were sitting next to each other, and her booth was there. And the pieces are just very beautiful, very, I don't know how to put it, grounded. You feel.
The people that picked them up, I was hearing what I was getting back from them, what they were saying, and it is true. I'm sorry, sir, I didn't talk to you more than I should have, but I'm kind of shy by nature, so it's just like I don't interact with people unless I really kind of have to, So
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
I think Stephen, he had this early trauma with the abduction phenomenon, and his brother did too. And his brother didn't cope with it as well as Stephen did. He ended up, he had a really hard childhood and emotional problems. He never did have a long-term relationship. He became a miser later in life and very hermit-like. And I just was wondering if that was sort of the tendency for people who suffer from the abduction phenomenon. Because Stephen, too, he's become more and more hermit-like as he gets older. And
I don't really want to interact. Well, I was an acupuncturist where I had to.
Yeah,
I literally had to take on their stuff to both understand how to treat them. And I think that kind of, it was both a good and a bad thing for me. I treat people with hip problems. I end up with hip problems myself. So
a little too empathetic there.
A little bit too much. Too much so. It was tough on me. It was tough.
But he has me now to drag him out into public once in a while.
Yeah.
So.
I love community. I do it as much as I can. I love people around me, and I love my family. I love my partner, and I keep myself in a small group of people where I feel good. And
yeah, that's kind of like I feel like, up until about my mid 40s, I felt that way too. And well, things changed after that for me. So.
You have a puppy now, don't you, Sarah?
Well, the puppy found us on May 1st. She just planted her butt on our fence and would not move. And the AS said we adopted her 5 days later. So she is great. She's been in her puppy stages. We're advancing behavior-wise. She's been every day getting better. She's about 11 months old right now.
Great age.
I was going to ask if the puppy notices anything to do with this phenomenon at all.
She was barking when I took a video of the UFO 4 days ago. She was looking up and barking. So
Yeah.
Yep,
They can sense them, I think. Yep.
for sure.
I think you saw one of those spheres, the way you describe it and what I saw in the video you sent me. These spheres are described very well by the Navy pilot Ryan Graves when they were testifying to Congress in the summer of 2023. He says they're clear glass-looking things with about 15 feet in diameter with a black cube inside of them. And sorry, darling.
that's what was turning inside of this thing.
Yep.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah, you got it.
So I think that's one of the ones that you saw, one of those. And those are actually make up a little over 50% of UFO sightings. They're using these, I think they use them as spy drones myself, because obviously it can't be a manned craft with, that size.
Yeah.
That's what Tara thought. She thought it was a drone, and we both looked at it, looked right at it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the aliens' version of a spy drone,
Yeah, I've got my green laser pointer pen that I got from Ben Hansen at Contact the Desert. So the next time we see a UFO, I'm gonna point the laser pen and see if it reacts.
There'll be some alien in the ship going, my eye!
Seriously.
Oh, dear. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up for today, everyone. And thank you so much for coming back on the show, Sarah.
Yeah,
We
thank
really
you for
appreciate it.
your time and your wonderful stories. Thank you.
All right, everyone. We're going to sign off now. And